the Matrix understands that our brain works like a little computer. And so they rewire our subconscious, because if they can pit us against each other, if we can create peer policing and peer shaming and all of this, then it takes the attention off of who it is that we actually need to be putting our attention on. Like, they're so smart about how they create these little echo chambers.
Welcome to the Alchemy, Astrology, and Astro Health podcast. I'm Maya Ratla, medical astrologist, astroherbalist, and green witch. I was diagnosed with endometriosis at 19, and I was told I would never have children. I healed my body through the power of herbs, alternative health practitioners, energy healing, and more. At 28, I had the baby they said I would never have, without any interventions. I refused to believe that my body was not able to heal itself. Along this journey, I stumbled across medical astrology, and it resonated with me so much. I started down the path to learning this unique system that had been used for thousands of years in the medical community. I now help other women heal their bodies using their cosmic blueprint, the unique blueprint that every person has embedded in their DNA from the stars. This system helps me see what's going on in your body on a cosmic level and exactly how to help you give your body what it needs to heal itself. We are all uniquely and amazingly designed, and when we learn to work with our design, love ourselves for how we are designed to function, and integrate the cosmos into our lives, I truly believe that we can see true and lasting health brought into our lives. If you are ready to change your life, heal your body, and learn to deeply love who you are, this podcast is for you. Come join me as I discuss medical astrology, astronutrition, astroherbalism, health, wellness, spirituality, transformation, and so much more. I'm so excited you are joining me. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Alchemy, Astrology, and Astro Health. Today I am here with Alison Grass. She is the brand witch. She is fucking awesome, and we are going to talk all about all the stuff that she does and how she got here and wherever spirit leads. Welcome, Alison.
Thank you for having me. I'm super jazzed to be here.
I am super excited for you to be here. I actually mentioned you the other day in a group chat that I'm in. Someone was looking for like a business coach, and they wanted somebody like kind of more like spiritual minded and witchy and stuff. And so you came to mind, obviously. So I was like, hey, so here's who I like, blah, blah, blah. And I put like I think it was like your IG in there because it was on like an IG group chat. And like 2 seconds later, someone pops up, oh my God, I love Alison. She's amazing.
Funny.
But like they literally in the group chat knew you and were like, yes, we recommend her too. And I was like, oh, damn. So you're popular, girl.
Feels good. I love that. That's such a fun story.
And I was just like so taken aback because like I literally just found you like, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. And so to me, you're like brand new, right? And apparently it's not really the case for a bunch of other people. But yeah, anyway, so I was just like really interested. I'm like, yeah, I just found this awesome person. The one's like, hey, I know her. She's awesome.
Been around the block a while. What can I say?
Yeah.
No, but we are new to each other. And I feel like, even though we haven't talked like this a lot, I just feel like we just kind of clicked right away. Certain people, there's just the energy. So even though we're new to each other, I also feel like we're not new to each other. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, no, totally. It's like two old souls that found each other again.
Yeah, totally.
So the brand witch, tell everybody what exactly that means and who you are, what you do, all that fun stuff.
Okay, well, so yes, I am the brand witch. I'm a psychic business coach and a marketing expert. And I'll give you my elevator pitch, but then I'll tell you a little bit about how I even got here because I wasn't always a business coach. So I basically work with free thinkers and awake entrepreneurs, and I help them turn their divine assignments into cult-worthy brands. Some people come to me, they know what their divine assignment is. Cool, let's make that front and center of your brand. Some people come to me like, I kind of don't. I'm like, cool, I can help you with that. But that's my shtick. But before I was a business coach, I did spiritual life coaching. And I became a spiritual life coach in 2020. And I realized I just had a knack for business. My Virgo brain loves all the like moving parts of business, right? But I didn't want, I needed to bring a little bit of me into it. So it birthed the brand witch, and I think it's kind of a cool and unique business coaching angle. I think it's kind of fun.
It works. It does. It immediately repels anybody you don't want in your world, right?
It sure does.
And then it immediately also does the opposite and brings people in who are like, hell yeah, like I totally want someone who is obviously witchy and woo and understands me. Because it's hard to find sometimes in the spiritual world. And
Mm-hmm.
when you do look for a business like coach or mentor or mastermind, whatever you're looking for in
Mm-hmm.
that side, when you're a spiritual business owner, it is so fucking hard to find someone who doesn't just push all the bro marketing tactics and
Mm-hmm.
the, all that stuff that doesn't work for spiritual entrepreneurs. And to be honest, doesn't work for women a lot of times either.
Yeah.
Like it's not aligned with how we work and
Yeah.
how we're meant to like put ourselves out there and how we're meant to like post and do things. Like we're
Yeah.
very cyclical and theirs is very much like you got to be on all the time. And I'm like, dude, I'm on like maybe if I'm lucky 2 weeks a month. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Well, I've mentioned to you before that chronic illness has been a journey of mine. So I unfortunately know that well. So I also like had to build a business that was sustainable for me when I wasn't feeling well as well too. And I've come leaps and bounds since then. Like I have more better days than non good days now. But I do think it's important, like if you have escaped the 9 to 5 matrix, or you're striving to escape the 9 to 5 matrix, why would you put yourself back in a box that makes you behave in the similar conditioned ways, right? And a lot of spiritual women are neurodivergent, or they have chronic health issues, or they're moms, they got to take care of children, or I don't know, whatever it may be. And so it's important to make our businesses work for our lifestyle, and you can totally do it. Now, it still requires putting in work, right? Like you still got to put in work. But it doesn't have to be in the same way that the Matrix says you put in work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of my favorite books that actually really helped me was called Six Figure Business in School Hours.
Mm-hmm.
And because I do have kids and I homeschool, and so I don't get those school hours basically
Yeah.
that like other moms do, where they send them off
Yeah.
during the day. So my kids now are older. When they were younger, this didn't work so well because of the
Mm-hmm.
homeschooling. But now that they're older and they can kind of do their homeschooling on their own because they're teens, and I'm like, here's your setup for the day. They have their schedules, they can look at it, and they know exactly
Yeah.
what to do. It makes it easier. So during like quote unquote school hours, which for us is all over the map, we don't follow a very specific schedule. The kids sleep until they're ready to get up and their bodies are good. Then they eat breakfast
So
and then they
nice.
get going. So, they follow their own rhythms. So, we'll have one kid that's up at the crack of dawn doing shit because that's just how they like to do it. And the other one's like, I'm waiting until after dinner to do my school. Don't
Mm-hmm.
care as long as it gets done before midnight. Right?
So nice.
So it makes it nice. The kids have learned their own thing. I know like their human designs, I know their charts, so it works really well. But that book really, really helped because it was the first business book I'd ever read that was written by a woman who also was a mom who had small children, not just children in general that were older, but small children that she had built a business while having to do all the stuff that moms have to do,
Yeah.
and all this stuff, and it worked for her. And she literally only had like maybe 4 to 5 hours a day to really do. So the main takeaway from this
Yeah.
whole thing was to really just focus on the things that are really going to move your business ahead. Do you really need to sit there and spend 6 hours on those Canva templates for posting things? Fuck no. Post whatever the hell you want, however you want to, because when you sit there and spend hours on the Canva templates looking all pretty, how much time have you actually invested in moving your business forward? Zero. No one cares if your
Like,
templates look cute.
I like that. I like the idea of massive imperfect action, because massive imperfect action is going to breed more results than not. I think
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of 5 hours. I mean, 5 hours a day should be a lot. That should be a lot to move your business, And I think, I always like kind of structure here's the thing, everybody's going to structure their days differently, right? And I think it's really important to create a business that is structured around your needs, right? Like, are you
Mm-hmm.
homeschooling kids? Do you have chronic health issues? Whatever it may be. So, for me, I have a very loose schedule. But it's there. And like the mornings are my creative time. So that's when I'm like doing administrative stuff, like my writing, I'm creating, I'm doing marketing, I'm working on offers to put out, things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then I usually have a break in the middle of the day for walking my dog, going to yoga classes, whatever. And then later in the day, I do calls with clients, or collaborations, or guest podcasting, things like that. But I think a big part of this is also creating a business that structure that supports your lifestyle, right? Like I don't maximum 3 one-on-one clients at a given time. And I have group offers that like I can bring people into, one offer I can bring people into at any time. And by having a group offer that's scalable, I can serve more people at once, right? And so there's a lot of different things that go into it. But if you want, if you need the freedom, if you want the freedom, then you got to set your business up to give you that freedom. And it's really just about getting a little organized.
Yes. And that's not always easy for some people, especially
No.
spiritual entrepreneurs. We tend to be really good at what we do and why
Hmm.
people come to us, and we're not always so good at the
Yeah.
structure. Now, I'm really good at the structure of my
Yeah.
business because I do have a Mars in Virgo, and so it very
Okay.
much is like, oh no, this is our action plan. We have checklist for the other checklist, and
Yeah.
everything is in order. Like Mondays I do this, and Tuesdays I do
Yeah.
that, and like I have a structure that I really follow, which works really well for me. And then I also follow my like human design where I'm a reflector, and so I'm really sensitive to like the moon's phases. So I also give myself grace within that
Yeah.
structure to say, hey, today is like close to a new moon and I have zero energy. We're going to push this off
Yeah.
until next week when my energy starts
Yeah.
picking up again, right?
No,
And
I
stuff
mean
like that.
planning around moon cycles, yeah, whatever it may be,
Mhm.
like you gotta like fix it to how you experience this reality.
Yeah, exactly. And it helps so much to have like a structure that works for you. But
Hmm.
let me tell you, that took me a while to find when I first started my business because, I didn't know what I didn't know, and I was also used to other
Yeah.
people like trying to micromanage my time all the time.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden I'm over there having to do my own timing and
Hmm.
scheduling, and it was, I picked it up fairly quickly just because that's who I am, but I can get why other people would struggle when you go from that 9 to 5 structure where there's literally
Yeah.
someone up your ass all the time trying to get you to do whatever you want, whatever they want, and follow these things, and then you lose that. It can be a bit like jarring to go from that to I'm in charge of everything. you know.
No, totally. I remember when I first made that transition too, I was like, I feel like I'm not working enough. Like that was
Yeah.
a like story that played out in my like I feel like I should be doing more with my time. I should be working more.
Mhm.
And I would like literally, I mean, here's the thing, as entrepreneurs, we always have a never-ending checklist of like ideas and creative projects and things we need to
Mhm.
like check off the box and things we have to tighten up so that we can like execute that particular project and what like we have all those kinds of things, right? But at the end of the day, also like it's really like easy to create more work than is necessary or look at that checklist and be like, well, I have to achieve everything. Like, that's just not going to happen. So I remember just feeling like having a lot of guilt at first, being like, oh, I had a 5-hour work day. Oh, like it was a mind fuck
Yes.
at first.
Yes, because I came from healthcare where we worked 12-hour shifts.
Hmm.
And so when I came out and was doing this on my own, and I was only working like 3 to 5 hours a day,
Yeah.
I had like a whole crisis thing like, oh my God, I'm sitting still for like more than
Yeah.
5 minutes. And it took a while for my nervous system, especially,
Yeah.
to like calm down and realize that if I sat down for 5 minutes, no one was going to die on me. Like that was literally a concern because I
Yeah.
worked in level 1 trauma centers. So, people were very, 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 very sick and had been
Yeah.
injured for whatever reason. And so they were very unstable. And if I did sit down for 5 minutes, sometimes things would happen, right? And so it took
Yeah.
my nervous system probably a good 2 to 3
But
years after leaving that to really like realize that not everything was an emergency. No one was going to actually die on me. I didn't have to work 12 hours straight and literally run myself into an
yeah.
early grave for stuff to move ahead, for my business to go where I wanted to, for, whatever.
Yeah.
And learning that for me specifically, and this might work for others as well, but less was more was so helpful because the less I did that I felt like I was doing because I wanted to, not because I had to,
Yeah.
literally changed the game of my business because I was doing things that were more aligned. And when the more aligned I became, the more like clients that showed up. It was like so funny. Like, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything extra to bring in people, but here they come. So,
And you touched on something I thought was really interesting too. You were like not doing more because you have to, but because you want to. Like there is a big difference between having a long work day out of desire versus out of scarcity or fear
mhm.
or programming. So that's a really important component as well too.
Yeah. And getting out of that, I have to, show that I'm productive by being at work for the 8 hours or doing overtime or
Hmm.
staying later or doing unpaid labor or whatever, like getting out of that too, because you get that a lot when you work for other people. And it's hard to get out of that sometimes when you go into your own thing. Like there's this person I watch on YouTube that I kind of enjoy her videos and stuff. And she just recently left a corporate job to make a go at her own business. And so she's been documenting how that's going. And literally, I can see the stages of how I felt like being played out in real time, because like she's only been out of that corporate job for maybe like a month now, I think it's been. And this girl is working herself into a grave. And I just want to keep commenting, oh my God, you don't need to be working 8 hours a day anymore, girl. Like, take a break,
You're
calm down.
free.
Yes, because I just see her repeating that same thing where she gets up every day at like 7 a.m. and she's on the computer by 8 doing her stuff, and she's on, and I'm like, oh my God, girl, like take a break. Because my day is very lax in some ways. Like I have a structure in the fact that like I start work around
Yeah.
10, I go until about 1 usually, because then I do lunch between 1 and 2, and then 2 I have stuff in the afternoon from like 2 to 5, whatever.
Yeah.
Usually, sometimes I'll go later, it just depends, but usually 5 is when everyone starts getting hungry, so I will stop and I will get dinner and stuff for everybody and myself. And then I usually take a nice long walk after dinner and stuff. We all walk as a family, so I spend a lot of time doing that. And then when I come back, if I still feel like, hey, I really want to get this done, then I'll get back on and do
Yeah.
some more work because I want to, not because there's like a boss breathing down my neck telling me I have to. But I don't have to do that either. Like if I'm like, no, I'm really tired, then I will stop and then I'll just add that on for the next day. And it's so freeing to be able to do that, like make up my own time. I'm not
It
a
really
morning
is.
person. I never have been, which is really strange when you're working as a nurse, because I'm also not an overnight person. So I had to work the morning shift. So I had to be at work at 7 a.m., which meant most of the times getting up around 5 a.m. And I am not a morning person. So this was rough. And it was very, very hard on my system to be getting up those 3 days in a row like that early, and then working 12-hour shifts, and then the drive home and the drive there. Like it was just, by the time because I would work mine in a row usually, because it was just easier to find, childcare and stuff when you have 3 in a
Yeah.
row instead of all over the map. So I would do like my 3 in a row. When I had my first day off, there was like literally a saying in the house that like, mom is unavailable for today. Like she does not exist. You go to dad only, because I'm not here. I'm like literally unable to function. And I would spend the whole day in bed. And so everyone's like, oh, you only work 3 shifts a week. And I'm like, yeah. And then I spend the first 2 days off literally laying in bed recovering, or I lay all day the first day. And then the second day I managed to get out and do a little bit more, but it's really not at, what I could be doing. And then I have 2 days off and then I'm right back again. Like it was not
No way to
feasible.
live.
No, no, it was not. I was super exhausted all the time, and my family was suffering, my business was suffering, because I could only do so much in my business when I'm utterly exhausted, which you
Yeah,
get.
I do. I do.
And yeah. And so I really prefer how I do things now. And, we also have to meter that with the fact that my husband has a business too. So we, have to take turns sometimes on whose business is like kind of in the forefront, if that makes sense.
It does.
Um, his is a more seasonal business, so his picks up around like October, November, depending, and
Yeah.
then it goes until about like March, April. Also, just that varies every year, but sometime in there. And so when he's busier during those times and I don't have as much like backup at home and stuff,
Yeah.
then I tend to slow down on my business a little. His picks up, and then mine picks back up when his slows down. So it's like we have a nice little flow and
That is
rhythm.
nice. It is a nice little flow y'all got.
We've learned over the years how to work it out.
It's your flow.
Yes. And well, my husband is a generator um, in human design, and I'm a reflector. So I borrow his like defined sacral energy a lot of times to get shit done, but he doesn't have an off switch. I mean, he's like, oh, I only really need like
Be
4 hours
nice.
to sleep at night. And I'm like, really?
Love being a manifester in human design. Don't get me wrong. I love it because we get to be so polarizing. Like people love us or hate us. And actually that's like one of my favorite things about being a manifester. I also really like that I get to initiate. I love initiating. Love it. But I wish I had some sacral energy, because when I'm in
Mm-hmm.
those creative spurts, I'm just like, this is the best feeling ever. And then I'm like potato, right? Because I'm in a rest cycle. But man, what I wouldn't give for some sacral energy combined in
It
here.
is so nice. I just borrow his whenever I need any, because I
Because
have
as a
no defined
reflector,
anything.
as a reflector too, like I don't know a ton about reflectors. I probably know the least about reflectors of any human design, but you guys are like mirrors, right? Like whoever's around you, you can be, so you can probably makes it easier to borrow his energy when you want or need, right?
Yeah. If I really need like a lot of energy, like there is like a deadline, right? Like obviously sometimes I have deadlines, so I can't just be all willy-nilly.
Mhm.
But like if I really need some like energy, I will go to like a coffee shop or a library where there's like a bunch of people that are there and like milling about, and I will get like 3 days worth of work done in like 3 hours
Oh,
because
interesting.
I can just go because I can pick up all that energy and
Yeah,
I just like it just fuels me. But
yeah,
then I have to remember that because I was doing that and I was working like 3 days worth of work in 3 hours, now I'm going to be tired the next like day or two. So I have to like know that about, I know
yeah,
that about myself now. But when I first was learning kind of about this, I was like, man, why am I so tired after? But it's because I was literally borrowing everyone
yeah,
else's like busy, busy, busy energy, and now
yeah,
it's gone and my body is like, you know.
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, and we also are really ruled by the lunar cycles. So wherever the moon is in the sky and whatever sign it's in and whatever phase it's in really, affects us too. So I can tell without even looking outside where the moon is and like what phase because I can tell by my
So
energy levels.
interesting.
The
How are
closer we
you
get
feeling
to
about how are you feeling about us being in Taurus right now? Because I cannot stop eating personally.
that's that
I ate
foodie
a
of the
whole
zodiac.
I ate a whole loaf of banana bread yesterday. I was like, we are definitely in Taurus season.
I actually, because I'm a 5 planet Scorpio and Taurus is my sister sign, I actually do really well in Taurus season because of that. It's where I finally just kind of get to like, like let go and relax. I also have 2 Taurus kids, so I'm kind of used to that energy being in the house a lot. And let me tell you, they are such homebodies, and the only way to get these kids out of the house is to literally like bribe them with food. Like, oh, we're going out, you got to come with us. We don't want to. We'll get you boba. We'll stop at a restaurant, like whatever. We'll get your favorite food. And then, okay, then they'll come. Otherwise, if they never had to leave the house, they never would. These children would never go anywhere on purpose. They're just homebodies. They love being home. They love their comforts, right? So that part I'm feeling right now of the Taurus season is not wanting
Yeah,
to like go anywhere or do anything.
yeah. Same. I want to be at home too.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm no astrology expert like you are. I just know enough to talk like we're talking right
Yes.
now. But when you said that your kids are both Tauruses and they're homebodies, and the only way to get them to leave the house is food, I was like, that is the most Taurus thing I've ever heard.
Hmm. Oh
They'll
yeah,
leave for food.
they will. That literally, like they should wear signs around their neck that's like, I'll do whatever you want for food. Like that's the one way that like really works for them. And then I have a Virgo child, who's the exact opposite. He wants to be home because
Mhm.
Virgos also like their homes,
Yes, we
but
do.
there is no way to get him to leave the house. Like it's literally, I don't. You have to just like find what the interest of the week is because there
I'm
is no
such a
bribing with
homebody
like food.
too. Yeah, I'm made for working at home because
Hmm.
I don't
Oh
want to
yeah.
leave. I love being at home.
And Virgos are really good at managing their own time and like doing like they have that good
Yeah,
little like system going already in their body to do that, so they work so much better by themselves.
yeah, it's the best. I'm
Hmm.
definitely a homebody as well
Yeah.
too.
And then my last kid is a Gemini. We can't keep that kid home. I literally have to pay her to stay home. Like she just wants to be anywhere but home. It also
Yeah,
helps she has an Aries rising too. So between the Gemini and the Aries, like this kid she's super friendly, never met a stranger.
social.
Um, yeah. Since we live in like our bus and we travel all over, I can't tell you how many times like we would be places. She's an adult now, so she doesn't travel with us all the time anymore. But before she was an adult, we would go places and we'd be like, who did you see her yet? Where how long ago was it that you've seen her? Like we had to like keep track of her by like, because she'd be at other people's campfires, didn't know these people. She just jumped on into their campfire and she's like chatting with them and they're giving her s'mores and she's babysitting their kids and like
That
just
makes me think of my
having
friend
friends.
Becky. My friend
Yeah.
Becky's a Gemini and she's never met a stranger and she's always out. I'm like tired. Like
Hmm.
the amount of socializing she does, I'm like tired. I'm like, I don't know how you do it, girl.
Yeah. No. With my 5 planets in Scorpio, but I have a Leo rising, so that gives me some of that. But I'm more like that extroverted introvert where everyone thinks
Yeah.
I'm an extrovert. But
Yeah.
then after like 10 minutes of socializing, I'm like, oh my God, my social battery is at zero. I got to go home. And then it takes me like 5 to 7 business days to recoup. Um, so I can turn that on if I need to, right? And be more
Yeah.
outgoing. It works great for things like this, and my clients love it and stuff, and it does work great for that. But yeah, like I'm tired then because like Scorpio is a very very introverted, needs lots of time alone sign.
Yeah.
And with 5 planets there, I'm like, girl, I just need to like sleep 24/7. I need like 10 hours of sleep a night. If I don't get like at least 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep minimum, I am like not functioning.
No, same. So I don't wake up with an alarm, right? I wake up without alarm. I need at least 8 hours of sleep. But you were talking about like, if you do so many calls, it's very exhausting. And that's one reason why, like, me too. I started off doing a lot of one-on-one calls. And it's not that I do enjoy one-on-one connection. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't sustainable for my energy to be on calls like that all the time. I had to create a group coaching business model, for my energy, because I'm like you. I'm an extroverted introvert. I'm not shy. I'm not shy. I'm not bashful. But after so much socializing, I need to retreat to like recharge my battery.
Yeah.
It's like totally.
And then I married a Scorpio whose top 3 are all in water. So they are very introverted and need lots of rest and away to, time and alone time, which works really well because we both enjoy our alone time. And because we know this about ourselves, it's like there's no fighting with your spouse to like get that alone time or feeling like shame about needing as much because they need it too. And then my Taurus kids are super introverted, so is the Virgo kid. So all of us are super introverted. And then we got the Gemini kid that I'm not sure how she came along, but she did. And she's like the exact opposite. She's like, I need to go out. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't go anywhere else. I am done. So this is why as she got older, we would just like, we got her a phone and we're like, call us if you need us, tell us where you're going, kind of a thing, but just go have fun.
Go do your
we couldn't
thing.
handle it. All of us needed rest. All of us were like, no, we need rest. We're not going with you. You're just going to have to figure it out. We knew her friends' parents very well and stuff because it was like they were taking her places for us because we couldn't.
Like,
we're just tired.
Thank you.
Yes, please take this kid with you. It's not that we don't love her. We just are tired.
Yes.
And now she's on her own, and it's so different because we still can never get a hold of her now because she's always out doing something instead of being at home.
It lands.
Yeah, which is fine. We knew that, so we're not. She always calls us back eventually. It may take like 5-7 business days, but it happens.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's interesting. And what was also interesting is when I went from living in like a sticks and bricks house and having a business to like going on the road and having a business, it was so different because I used to have like, my own space, right? Like I had an office, I can go in, close the door, get away from the kids.
Yeah.
Well,
where do you work now?
This is my bedroom.
Yeah,
you just can't tell because I have my tapestry that I put up. So it looks nicer, but it's literally like my bed's behind us. And this is like our desk area. They collapse down so we have more space, and then we're working, they pop up. So I have that and I have like my chair in here. So this is in the bedroom, but it does this time now. But when we first started, we didn't have this, and I was just out in the dining room where everybody was. So now at least I'm in a room, so I have a door I can close and it can be, a little better. But like it was rough at first because I was like so used to being able to like go off and do what I needed to do and like have the door shut and whatever, and now I was like out in the open. So that was an adjustment, let me tell you.
That would be hard. Yeah. We actually have a really small house because I live in the Washington DC area. So I'm in Maryland, but I'm in we're like the suburbs of DC, which is a very expensive area. So
yes.
Our house is pretty small. So my office space is carved out in our home office. So when I actually, in 2020, I was still working my 9 to 5, but the whole pandemic happened. And so everybody had to work from home, right? And so I was like, fuck, where am I going to work? Our house is fucking tiny. My husband had to work from home. So I have like this in the bedroom. It's like a Murphy desk. So you can it's like the Murphy beds that go into the wall and then you can pull out. So I can create my office space when I'm working during, and my husband would work downstairs. But yeah, I was, you heard my story. I was working in political advocacy for 10 years before I started doing this work. And it was a second spiritual awakening. And I was like in the throes of my spiritual awakening by the time the pandemic happened. And then it just kind of like accelerated everything. But I was like, fuck, where am I gonna work? So I had to make that work, which it worked out, obviously. But yeah, I'm kind of like you, where I went from like having a very mainstream job to doing something very not mainstream
Yeah.
at all. And it's funny because like the house we bought is very close to a subway. And we did that intentionally because I used to like go into the city, to go to work, right? And now I don't even use it. I don't even fucking leave my house now. So it's funny how things work out, because we bought this house because of location, and now location doesn't really even matter that much anymore. It's very strange.
Might be time to explore other locations.
We have our eyes, we're going to start like saving our money to like fix the house up a little bit to sell it. And we have our eyes on a beachy location that's a little further out, because my husband's a Scorpio, so he loves him some water. And I'm pretty sure he was a Viking in a past life.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's water, and I want land and chickens. So we're planning something. We got our plans going now.
Yep, that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
We had chickens for a while. We bought some property out west in like the New Mexico area because we love New Mexico. It's literally where my soul feels at home. And as soon as we stepped foot into New Mexico, both me and my husband were like, we must have lived here in a past life, because like we immediately were like, that feeling you get when you just know you belong somewhere. But like, I've never been in this state in my life, so how could that even be? But like it was. So we fell in love, didn't want to leave. And when it was time to leave, everybody was crying on the way out of like the state as we're leaving. Everyone's sobbing in the car, and we're like, okay, we might need to go back. So we ended up buying property, and so we have that. So we ended up trying to stay stationary, like build a homestead. We discovered very quickly we are not stationary people. We are definitely nomadic, and we love traveling. And all of us like literally got sick. Like we all got sick, and as soon as we started traveling again, all of the health problems went away. It was like so weird. It was like my body was like,
so
yeah, no. Yeah, so we got chickens while we were there. So we had a bunch of chickens, which we loved, and we ended up, selling them before we ended up going back on the road. But yeah, it was really interesting to see. And so I was looking like our charts, because I was like, well, why would we get sick from that?
Yeah.
And then I did like a synastry chart with me and my husband, because I'd never done one before. I didn't really ever feel the need to. I knew he was my soulmate, so like I don't need to look at my chart, right? So I did that. Well, we both have a stellium in Sagittarius, and I had never really looked at his chart. And Sagittarius is like the wanderer of like the zodiac, right? They like to go places and travel and learn about different cultures and locations. And so I have a stellium in the 5th house, and he has a stellium in the 6th house. So like right in a row there. And so we just really, really like traveling. So a stellium is like 3 or more planets in one sign. And so we just really like traveling and going places and exploring new areas, and sitting still in one place is just never going to really work for us. And so we accidentally stumbled on, this, because we were in like the 9 to 5 rat race matrix that you're in, and we hated it. I never saw my kids, never saw my husband. I was working at one point 100 hours a week as a nurse. And I was exhausted all the time. And so the only time I was working technically a Monday through Friday nursing job, which the point of taking that was so I could spend more time with my kids, right? Well, that wasn't happening. And so all we had was the weekends, and we would be cleaning the house, which took forever because it was an absolute disaster from, no one touching it all week long because we were exhausted. And then grocery shopping and doing all the laundry from, 5 people, 6 people. We have 4 kids, 6 people, 2 dogs that are like run amok while we're gone during the week because, no one's home to, pay attention to them. And like it was just like it was crazy. And I looked at my husband one day and I said, I'm so tired of this. There has to be something else we could do, because this is fucking exhausting. And so we both agreed we wanted to do something else, but didn't know what that was. And then about a month later, I came to and I'm like, look, I found this video on YouTube. These people travel on the road with their kids. Like, this is doable. And he goes, oh my God, I was just going to show you the same thing.
Oh, that's funny.
And he was like, I found this too. And so that's what we did. We sold the house right in 2019, right before the pandemic started. And we sold everything off, bought an RV, and we hit the road.
What a good time you like had that executed. Like you couldn't have planned that better.
We would have totally had our house foreclosed on, because my husband got laid off in August, right before all of that started. So he would not have had a job, and I would have been the only one working. So we were already going to be really tight on bills if we had stayed in the house. And then all of the nurses that I worked with, because of our department being considered an outpatient department, all got laid off during the pandemic because we weren't considered essential. And because of our classification within the hospital, we weren't allowed to go work on the floors. They
That
would
was
not let us in that hospital. So I wouldn't have had a job either.
that was divine intervention right there.
The universe was like, you got to go, and they kicked us
Like,
out.
you
So
don't know what it's about to happen. This is really important that you do this
yeah,
now.
yeah. So
Totally.
that's been, yeah. So that was our exit from the Matrix. It was planned a little bit on our side, but then kind of not planned, because we had
Yeah.
planned on just staying in the RV where we were, paying off some debt and things, and then, you know, like keeping our jobs, and then deciding if we were going to actually travel from there, giving ourselves like, you know, like a runway and whatever. And then in August he got laid off, and I was like, well, fuck, this ain't gonna work. So we ended up, yeah, I went back to travel nursing, which I had done for years prior to having kids, and it was just me and my dog before that. And so now it was me, my family, and the dogs. And yeah, we went back to that and did that through the pandemic. And let me tell you, having lived in the center of it with all the crap going on, it was 100% like not a natural occurrence at all.
Yeah, I can only imagine what that was like. It was super weird here too, because like I'm in DC, like I'm basically in DC. It's like basically the Hunger Games capital where I am.
Yes.
And it's very fascinating because I'll say in this area, there are a colossal amount of very intelligent people, very book smart, but they've been programmed so deeply to not have critical thinking. It's really fascinating. I mean, I got wrapped up in it briefly myself as well, right? And I remembered when that was, and I had never been an anti-vaxxer before. I never really thought twice about it. But I remember when that was going on, I was like, there is something super sus about this. And the place where I was working, I was already starting to become a little miserable there. And I think this was just spirit helping to push me out, which was strange because I'd loved it. I always loved my work. And I'm going through my spiritual awakening, and I'm being exposed to like quote unquote conspiracy theories that are pushing against my programming, and I'm starting to see the reality differently. And I'm in the middle of my life coaching training, and I'm, you know, just finished up yoga teacher training, and I'm like, how do I create a spiritual business? I got to get out of here. So all that's happening. I'm saving up my money, yada, yada, yada. And then my organization mandated the jab, and I was very chronically ill, very sick, very unwell. And I was just had this gut feeling. I'm like, if I get that, I'm going to die. Maybe not literally, but I'll get really sick. Like, I just knew it would make me super sick. So anyways, that was around, that corresponded closely with the time that I turned in my notice to go all in on my business. It was really scary. You've probably heard my story too. Like I had a lot of financial insecurity for most of my adulthood. And I, had been at that organization for like 10 years and moved up the ranks to becoming a director. And I was like, I had been a director maybe for a couple years, and I was like living very cushy with a nice salary. And I just left it behind, and people thought I was insane. But you know what? When you listen to these nudges from spirit always takes care of you. Always, always, always. And it's normal to be nervous and dysregulated. I mean, because you're having a human experience. But when I reflect back on my entrepreneurial journey and all the risks I've taken along the way, like somehow everything's always okay. It's very fascinating to look back.
Yeah, people thought we were insane. Like literally insane, because we have kids and, you know, all this stuff, and they were like, you're going to ruin your kids' lives. They're going to be miserable human beings.
Dude, I bet your
And
kids are like so happy.
oh my God, they literally, we asked them every year. Like, we did not jump into this without talking to them first. We talked to every single one of them, even the youngest, who at the time were like 5 and 6 when we started. So like, obviously they had very little opinions, but they were still involved in the decision because they're part of the family and we're a team, right? So we talked it out with all the kids, and every single one of them was like, hey, let's try it. I said, we can do it for like a year or two, and if we really hate it, then we'll figure something out, right? So everybody was on board. And literally every year, especially like now, like school's winding down, like they'll be done here the next like couple weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. And then we have like the summers, and so when school's getting ready to start back up and we're getting close to that, every year we ask them, do you want to come off the road and you can go do school at like, a public school or a private school
Yeah.
or whatever, and we'll stay in one area. And every single year they're like, fuck no, we love being homeschooled, we like being on the road, we don't want to do this. And our oldest that are, adults now, daughter especially, is looking into getting like a van that she can build out and she can join us back on the road. She chose to try to, she wanted to have like a sticks and bricks experience and stuff, and we gung-ho support that for her because that's, her choice. And so, we've got her all set up and she's doing great, but she really wants to get back out on the road because she liked it so much more. She's like, I'm so much more free. She's like, and no one cared about so many different things that are suddenly an issue when I'm living in a house. And I was like, yeah, I know. Tell me about it. Like, the more we travel, the more we see that the division between right and left, Republican, Democrat, is all literally made up and fostered by our news media and the president at this point of our country, because we meet people all the time from all different walks of life. And we have never once had an issue with connecting with them or finding some common ground.
Yeah.
And the more we talk, the more we realize we all want the same fucking thing
Yeah.
in life. Every single one of us. None of us are different. And then when we start talking about the things that we want and they talk about things they want, and they look at us, they go, oh, well, we're not really so different.
It's
We
always
come
the
from all
same.
walks of life, all different colors, all different ethnicities. Like all of our friends are so diverse in so many different areas. And I have friends that would be, if we were living in sticks and bricks, we would be mortal enemies because they're on, this side and I'm on the other, supposedly, But when we start really talking and getting to know each other, we realize we all want the same thing. We all just want fucking human rights for everybody.
Yeah.
And we want everybody to live happily and healthily. We don't want our food poisoned anymore. We don't want, vaccines given to us that are killing us. And we don't want, to be experimented on, to be the guinea pigs. And we just don't want any of that. We don't want our children to be unsafe because, pedophiles are in office. Like, we all want the same things. And that has been so helpful too in like raising children because they get that exposure to everything. So when our daughter settled down and she's in one place and all of a sudden it's like, she's like, what in the world? Because she's not used to that. She's not used to people
she's
being
in
in
an
each other's
echo
throats.
chamber, huh? She's in an
Yeah.
echo chamber. Yeah. That's super interesting. That's super interesting how life on the road got you out of an echo chamber. I can see that because like you see how like different districts become political somethings, and then when you live in a district or whatever, and then you get inundated with this information, and it's so intentional to pit you against your neighbor. But literally, I get along with anyone in everything. And if you ever, like, I don't, this, but for those listening, I don't associate with a political party anymore. I'm very anti-red pill, blue pill matrix. But if I sat down and talked to someone who identified as a Democrat and someone who identified as a Republican, I could have very lovely conversations with both of them, and I could see that they want the same things in the world, like you were talking about. They want the same exact things. It's just we've been so deeply programmed because the matrix understands that our brain works like a little computer, and so they rewire our subconscious, because if they can pit us against each other, if we can create peer policing and peer shaming and all of this, then it takes the attention off of who it is that we actually need to be putting our attention on. Like, they're so smart about how they create these little echo chambers. And you know this because I talk about this kind of shit all the time in my content. And I talk about this shit in my marketing and content and emails because I want to work with people who think like me, because it's people like us who can see this, who can see beyond this fucking veil, that are going to make the world a better place. Hands down. We are the ones that are going to expand consciousness through all the different ways, whether it's, through how you do it through medical astrology and herbalism, whether it's how I do it through brand building so people's voices and divine assignments get out there, whether fitness coaching, it doesn't matter. If you have this kind of fucking mentality and you're able to infuse it into your business and your brand, you're going to be the person who makes the world a better place. So I love that. Like, it makes so much sense to me that you getting on the road would kind of like strip the ego from being associated with like a certain red pill or a blue pill and like pull you out of that echo chamber. I can see how it just creates autonomy. Probably other digital nomads you meet are probably very like-minded. So that's super interesting.
Yeah. I think the other thing too that really helped was when we hit the road, we stopped watching so much TV
Oh, I bet.
because we
I mean, it's
just
called
didn't have
TV
time for it.
programs for a reason,
Yeah.
people.
Like, we just weren't wanting to. We wanted to be outside more. We were connected more with nature. We were always hiking or biking or swimming or doing something outdoors.
Yeah.
And the only time we would ever watch TV would be like if it was, like super rainy outside or something, and then we might watch it. Otherwise, we're playing like board games together, and we're, having conversations about things, or we're baking, or we're doing something. So there wasn't a lot of TV. In fact, I can't even tell you the last time I turned on our TV. It's, we do have one, but mainly all we do is watch our DVDs that we have.
Yeah.
Haven't, like, we don't watch a lot of like, actual like TV programs or streaming channels that often. We do have some, but we rarely watch them because, again, we just don't feel the need to be constantly distracting ourselves
Yeah.
anymore like we used to.
That's so nice. That's so nice. Yeah. I mean, I've seen the pictures of where you currently are. It's so beautiful. How would you not want to go outside and be in that? I mean, I'm not going to lie. I definitely consume my share of shows that I binge. But it's so interesting when I watch them because I can always pick up the predictive programming. I can always pick
Mm-hmm.
up the subtle messages, And I mean, people, we have to remember, like, I don't watch the news. Hell no. And we have to remember too, like, you know what they used to call news? Your news program. Do we think that that's coincidence that they call it the news program? No, they don't have fucking programming minds. It's just crazy. I mean, why do we think we have a Fox News and a CNN? This is so fucking intentional to program people to think one way or the other and then pit them against each other.
Yeah. And none of it's unbiased anymore like it's supposed to,
No,
None of it is.
it's
I don't
not.
think, honestly,
Yeah,
don't think any of it ever was, if you think about it. Like, going back when I was like a kid thinking about watching the news with my family, and I don't feel it was unbiased then either. I think people have a romanced view of the past sometimes. We
yeah,
like to think it was better, but I really don't think it was. But I'm glad that we're out of it. I'm glad that there's people like you who are, kind of still wading through it, but, leading the way
yeah.
out of it too. Like, you're out of it yourself, but like you're helping others escape, and it's so needed because the more
So
people that
fun.
do that, the
Yeah,
more we're going to like actually,
I
heal
know.
the world too, because like we need to get out of that so that we can heal ourselves, and then we can heal our neighbors, and then we can heal our, on and on and
Bingo.
on. Yeah. And then
No,
all of these people
bingo.
will be out of power, and then it'll be just how it should have been to begin with.
New Earth is gonna, I mean, I know it's here already, but it'll be crystallized before we
Yes.
know it. And yeah, I mean, it's all about consciousness expansion. And what you were saying that, when I was going through my second awakening while I was still working my matrix job, um so I'll just say it's real brief because I know we're getting close to our needing to
We
wrap
are.
up. But when I was 20, I had my first spiritual awakening, and I got really curious about spirituality in general. And I studied a lot of different religions, and Taoism was a religion I really liked. And I remember during my second spiritual awakening, I came across a quote by Lao Tzu, who's the person they believe authored the Tao Te Ching. And it said just what you said. It said, if you want there to be peace in their world, there must be, peace among nations. And if you want peace among nations, there must be peace in the cities. I'm probably butchering this a little bit, but if we want peace in the cities, there must be peace among neighbors. If we want peace among neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If you want peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. And this is why it's so important that we really focus on expanding our own consciousness, healing, whether it's through medical astrology, like healing your body, working with ire, whether it's, whatever it may
Mm-hmm.
be, and then spreading your medicine, because this is how we actually crystallize the new earth, not by yelling at your neighbor because they have a different opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And that doesn't further anything either. It furthers
No.
division, but it doesn't
Yep.
further the harmony and,
Yep.
everything you want. I guess that wasn't that like the Rolling Stones or the Beatles that sang all you need is love. It's really
Yep. It's
that's
true.
really what it's 100% true. And that's really what we need to focus on, is loving ourselves first, and then loving our families, and loving our neighbors, and then it spreads.
Yeah.
100%. I am so glad you were here today. We do have to wrap it up, unfortunately, everybody. So, Alison, tell everybody where they can find you if they're interested in working together or just checking out more.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. So I don't have a website right now, but the Brand Witch Coach, that's all one word. I'm on Instagram for the foreseeable future, as long as the meta overlords don't take me down. So for right now, I'm on there. I'll send Ire my links. I have a link tree. I'll send that link. It has like a free community of mine that you can join if you want to be a part of my free community. So yeah, hope to connect with some folks.
Sounds good. We will see you guys next time. Love and light. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Alchemy, Astrology, and Astro Health. I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed making it. You can find all relevant links to today's show in the show notes below. If you loved the show today, please subscribe, follow, and leave me a review. I love to hear your thoughts, and it helps me know what is a hit and to make more of that content, especially for you. If you want to learn more about me and how I can help you, head over to astrology.com. There you can sign up for a medical astrology package, download my free sun sign and your health ebook, read the blog, and so much more. If you want to connect more outside the podcast, follow my Instagram channel @AtlaAstrology or join my Astro Connection community, the link to which you can find in the show notes. Until next time, love and light.